Assalamualaikum Doctor. Our group are assigned for sewerage work for our group assignment. Our group members are Muhammad Khairuddin bin Muhammad Zulkifli, Azuria binti Tali Azmi, Wan Nurhana Nazira binti Wan Awang, and me myself Rohaniza binti Rosli. This is the layout plan of the sewerage. In this presentation, we will presenting on taking off list, Q-release, sewerage pipe, and manhole. What do we need to take off the element of sewerage works? For sewer pipe, we will be taking off on excavation of trench, extra overflow excavation, disposal of surface water, aggregate bedding, concrete filling, and sewer pipe. Next, for manhole, we will be taking off excavation of pits, extra overflow excavation, disposal of surface water, disposal of excavated material, filling to excavation, concrete binding, concrete bed, concrete benching, channels, precast concrete manhole, concrete surround, step iron, manhole covers, building in ends of pipes, connection to existing pipe, and testing. Due to the lack of information, we are required to query for missing information. The queries that we made are the thickness of bed, which query as 20 mm, 5% for the percentage of extra overflow rock excavation, 73 mm for the thickness of chambering, 150 mm for length of projection, concrete grade 25 for backfill of sewerage line, the type of measurement length, which is center to center, and lastly the diameter of channel, which query as 225 mm. We refer to the SM second edition for the measurement and description in bills of quantities. Clause V1 for general information. For drains, we refer to the clause V2 for excavation, V3 disposal of water, V4 for beds, benching and coverings, and lastly V5 for pipework and surface water channels. Meanwhile, for manhole, we refer to the clause V6, V7 for connections to mains, and V8 for the testing drains.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Khairuddin and I will explain to you about sewerage pipe. So the first thing first is we do schedule of drainage. So the type of pipe is 230 mm diameter VCP pipe, and then we got 5 location of this sewerage pipe, and we identify and calculate the length, width, total depth, and then we got excavate trench not exceeding 2 meter in meter, and then extra over for rock excavation in meter, disposal of surface water in item, backfill, we got bed, haunching and concrete surround, and then lastly 230 diameter VCP pipe in horizontal. And how to get the length and width of the pipe. So for the length, because of the length in the drawing is center to center, we need to deduct with the manhole and concrete surround, projection and concrete ring. So for the width, based on the drawing, OD plus 300, outer diameter plus 300, and then we must plus with the thickness of the pipe. And the first thing is excavate trench to receive pipe. So based on the SMM V.2.1, excavating pipe trench shall be given in meter, stating the starting level, depth range in increments of 2 meter, and average depth within the depth range to the nearest 0.25. And V.2.3, trench to receive pipe not exceeding 200 mm diameter shall be grouped together, and exceeding 200 mm diameter shall be given separately, stating the size of the pipe. And V.2.5, earthwork support, treating bottom, filling in compaction and disposal of surplus soil shall be given in the description. And how do we get for the average debt? So average debt calculation, 1.43 is total debt, divide by 0.25, and then we got 5 to 6 number, and then the numbers we must multiply back with 0.25, and then we got 1.50 meter. So for the description, excavating trench to receive 230 mm VCP pipe commencing from ground level, maximum depth not exceeding 2 meter, average depth 1.5 meter, earthwork support 13 bottom, filling in compaction and disposal surplus soil. So for rock excavation, in SMM, V.2.8 stated that trench in rock as dim in clause D.12.2 shall be described. Alternatively, rock may be given in meter as extra over the trench in which it occurred, and we allow for 5% of the excavated trench for rock excavation. So for disposal of surface water, in SMM, V.3 stated that disposal of water shall be given in accordance with clause D.15 and D.16. D.15, an item shall be given for keeping the surface of the site and excavation free of surface water, and the unit shall be given in item. So for pipe protection, in SMM, V.4.1 stated that beds, benching and covering shall each be given separately in meter stating A. Nominal size of the pipe, which is the diameter of the pipe. B. Width and thickness of the beds, benching and surrounds. C. Material that are used for the beds, benching and surround. Any formwork shall be included in the description. And this is the drawing for our pipelines. So for the description, for bedding, plain in situ concrete grade 25 bed, size 570 mm, multiply with 100 mm height for 230 mm VCP pipe, including all necessary formwork laid on earth. So for haunching, plain in situ concrete grade 20 haunching, size 570 mm wide, multiply with 270 mm height for 230 mm VCP pipe, including all necessary formwork. So for concrete surround, plain in situ concrete grade 20 surround, size 570 mm, multiply with 100 mm height for 230 mm VCP pipe, including all necessary formwork. So for sewer pipe, this is the last item. In SMM, V.5.1 stated that pipes measured over all pipe fitting shall each be given in meter, stating the kind and quality of pipe, the nominal size, and method of jointing. And in the waste calculation, length 7.05 is excavating length, and then we plus with the thickness of the wall of the manhole, concrete surround, projection, and then concrete ring, and then we got 7.80 meter. For the description, drain pipes, VCP pipe 230 mm diameter, laid and jointed in rubber rings seal joints.
Now moving on to manhole. First part for schedule of manhole, it consists of location, diameter in meter, invert depth in meter. The invert depth is stated in the drawing as shown below. Meanwhile, for the thickness of pipe, it is our assumption for 20 mm. Concrete base and concrete blinding both are in meter as shown in the drawing on the right side. So, to get the total depth, we need to add the invert depth, thickness of pipe, concrete base and concrete blinding.
Excavation pit starting at ground level, maximum depth not exceeding 2 meter. To calculate the excavation pit, we use the formula pi times r square times height. The diameter 1200 at width 2 times chamber ring 146, 2 times concrete surround 300, 2 times projection 300, and we got 1946, and the radius is 973, and the volume of excavation is 4.94. The clause that related are V.6.3. Excavation, concrete work, brickwork, and other work shall be given in accordance with the appropriate sections. Second is D.12.6. Excavating pits to receive bases of stanchions, columns, isolated piers, and the like, which is grouped together, shall be given in meter cubes stating the number and the starting level as clause D.11. Excavating pits having both plan dimensions less than 1.25 meter shall be given separately. Extra over for rock, we use 5% of excavation pit. The clause related is V.2.8. Trenches in rock as deemed in clause D.12.2 shall be described. Alternatively, rock may be given in meters as extra over the trench in which it occurs. Allow for keeping the surface of the site and excavation free from surface water. The clause that related is D.15. An item shall be given for keeping the surface of the site and the excavations free of surface water.
Disposal of excavated material. How to get the disposal? First, we need to find the excavate pit and last with filling, so we will get the disposal. The clause related is D.18. Excavated materials to be deposited on site in permanent spoil heaps or spread on site shall each be given in cubic meters, stating any requirements for the location of such deposits or the average distance from the excavation in meters or kilometers. Filling to excavated material. So as we can see on the right side of the slide, that is where we want to fill. So how to calculate filling? External less with internal volume. External volume is similar with excavation of pit. The formula of internal volume is pi times r square times total depth. So example of description is filling to excavation with materials arising from excavation. The clause related is D.23, which is classification for filling materials. Filling materials shall be classified as follows: A. Material arising from the excavations. B. Material arising from excavations which is specified to be selected or treated. Details of selection or treatment shall be given. And C. Material to be obtained off-site. Details of type and source of supply, if a particular source is required to be used, shall be given. Next item is concrete blinding. It is calculated using the formula of pi times r square times height. The clause related is D.32. Blinding with sand or similar fine material shall be described and given in square meters. Concrete blinding shall be given in accordance with section F. The example description is 50 mm thick cementitious blinding. Concrete base. It is calculated using the formula of pi times r squared times height. The example description is 400 mm thick grade 25 concrete base with reinforcement including curved main channel and fine drop. The clause related is V.6.3 and section F. Excavation, concrete work, brickwork, and other work shall be given in accordance with the appropriate sections. For the last part of schedule of manhole, there are concrete benching in number. There are 3 classification of concrete benching: 1 inlet, 1 outlet, 2 inlet and 1 outlet, and 1 outlet. Next item is channel in number. Next is precast reinforced concrete manhole in number, concrete surround in meter cube, step irons and iron cover in number, building in and in number, connection to main in item, and lastly is testing in item.
Mass concrete benching of concrete mix 136 laid on manhole base to slope to receive half round 225 mm with refined clay pipe channel, which is measured separately as described. A over diameter 1200 mm with 1 outlet. The clause related is V.6.5. Channels, concrete benching, step irons, covers, and intercepting traps shall each be enumerated separately, stating the type, the quality, the size, and the method of bedding or fixing. 150 mm thick cast in situ concrete surround. To calculate concrete surround, external volume minus internal volume. For external volume, it is same with the excavation pit, and for internal volume, invert depth less diameter channel, which is 1200 minus 225, and we got 975. And then we use the formula pi times r squared times height. The r is 0.60, and then we got the internal volume 1.11. The clause that related is V.4.1. Beds, benchings, and coverings shall each be given separately in meters, stating nominal size of the pipe to be laid, width and thickness of the beds, benchings, housings, surrounds, and the like. Materials from which the beds, benchings, housings, surrounds, and the like are to be constructed. Any formwork required shall be deemed to be included.
Next item is step iron. How to calculate step iron? First, we need to find the depth and divide by center to center and plus 1, so we will get the number of step iron. Example description: supply, transport and installation of cast iron steps at each 200 mm center to center with manual chase cutting and cement mortar finish in number. Clause related is V.6.5. Channels, concrete benching, step irons, covers, and intercepting traps shall each be enumerated separately, stating the type, the quality, the size, and the method of bedding or fixing. Next item is iron cover. As we can see on the right side of the slide, this is the typical section of heavy-duty ductile iron manhole cover and frame. Example description is standard manhole, heavy-duty ductile iron frame and cover, 2 with average size 840 mm times 840 mm complied with the specification and be manufactured and approved by the Sewerage Service Department. The clause related is V.6.5. Channels, concrete benching, step irons, covers, and intercepting traps shall each be enumerated separately, stating the type, the quality, the size, and the method of bedding or fixing.
Building in end of 2 to 5 mm diameter VCP including making good. The clause related is V.6.4. Building in ends of pipes shall be enumerated stating the nominal size of the pipe. Cutting pipe shall be deemed to be included. Connecting ends of trains to mains. The clause related is V.7.1. Connecting ends of trains to mains making good public highways and other work which may only be carried out by a public undertaking or local authority shall be given as a provisional sum. On completion, allow necessary testing to the whole sewerage system as specified and in compliance with authority requirements, may cure any defects and leave everything in perfect working order to the entire satisfaction of the SO. The clause related is V.8. Testing the drainage system shall be given as an item stating the method of testing. That's all from us. Thank you for listening.